Wade
and Wade
reacts.
This is our review for Dune. Oh, I mean, not Dune. Star Wars 10. No, not Star Wars 10. The Chronicles of Riddick. No. Rebel Moon. Now, usually we do our good, our bad, our nitpicks, but this movie, no, it doesn't deserve that.
Yeah, this movie.
Go ahead, see what
This
you're
movie
gonna
was
say.
so trash that I couldn't find anything about the movie that was good. Didn't even give us room to categorize any part of the movie in the nitpicks.
Yeah, I don't have any nitpicks for this movie. Only thing I can say is like George Lucas said when they asked him about the new movies. This was beautifully shot.
That it was.
This movie is nothing but lost potential. And I don't know, I used to like Zack Snyder, but this one isn't it. This movie feels like, have you ever seen Avion Flux and Clash of the Titans? They got together, they had a baby, and then the Fifth Element jumped in there and took over as the step parent. This movie is trash.
Yeah, it's trash. There's nothing about the movie that stands out. I expected for the story not to be so good. I thought that the story was going to be mediocre. The story was garbage. Absolute booty, butt cheeks, terrible. I expected at least, like I said, for the action to be good. But even the action was trash. You don't expect that from Zack Snyder. Usually his team gives us satisfactory action even if the movie is trash. They give us fight scenes that you want to go back on YouTube and watch. But this had none of that. It was all around hot garbage. That's what it was.
Yeah,
It was hyped, well hyped, but it did not even almost deliver.
Yeah, and I wouldn't want to watch this movie, the fight scenes on YouTube, and I heard that they was saying that the team of this movie was saying F Star Wars. Man, this movie ain't even close to Star Wars. Get out of here. I'd rather watch The Last Jedi than this movie. This movie, like, Zack Snyder, he just phoned it in on this movie. He was better off doing Army of Darkness 2. Not Army of Darkness. What was that movie, whatever that zombie movie was called?
I know what you're talking about.
He was better off doing that movie. This movie, the pacing was horrible. It was fast. Nothing was happening. And the way they introduced the characters didn't really have any set of skills that the main character needed.
Exactly.
They called a couple of people by names. They had this type of skill. They had that type of skill. But when they got to fighting, it was like, bro, what's the purpose? Just another.
They didn't do anything. They introduced characters out of nowhere, it seemed, threw the characters into the story, and then expected you to care about these characters when they died. They expected you to be invested in these characters and feel the emotion that characters were feeling when their comrades were killed. It's like, how can I feel what this character is feeling? How can I empathize with this character when you didn't even give me time to get to know this character?
Yeah, this movie did a horrible job at showing. It told us everything. Yeah. And then let's get into the characters. Are we talking about the characters? We had Sophia Boutella. I mean, you know her from movies like The Mummy. What was the other? She played in The Kingsman. She was the evil villain with the kid. But that character, I mean, the way that they introduced the character, she was like farming in the beginning. She was tilling the ground. I was like, okay, maybe this character is, this is gonna be the character that I like in the movie. Movie went on, I didn't really care about it. Then we had Charlie Hunnam, which I like to call the bootleg Han Solo in this movie. Dude was trash. And then we had Anthony Hopkins. He voiced the robot. We don't know anything. Like he said, it's like Zack Snyder wanted to play with the robot from Rogue One.
Yeah.
It was like K2SO, but he didn't have any of the bite that K2SO had. And then who else? We had Ray Fisher. Waste of character. He looked cool, but the character was trash. Remember that heroic thing they tried to have him do? We didn't even care because he just came out of nowhere.
He came out of nowhere, and as soon as he was introduced, they again didn't give us a chance to get to know this character. Out of nowhere, he's riding this winged beast. And there's a whole scene dedicated to this character riding this beast. He jumps off of him, gets onto a mountainside, or rather the beast knocks him off his back onto a mountainside. Then out of nowhere, useless slow motion occurs. He's running. jumps onto this beast's back and proceeds to fly on him again, or to ride on him again. Then he lands. Then the beast kills some guy for seemingly no reason.
Yeah, I thought that bird, or that, what was it, a griffin? I thought he was gonna be in the movie. Like, that character, I mean, that they cared, but that creature do anything. And speaking of creatures, they introduced a bunch of aliens in these movies, and they didn't even give them a name. What were they?
This movie was, I'm telling you, it was all over the place. And why would you dedicate a scene to a character, to a beast that had no significance to the rest of the film? This movie was full of scenes like that. That's just one. If you watch this movie, you're like, where the heck is this going? Then once you see where the movie is going, you figure out that this movie could have been condensed into a 30-minute episode.
Yeah,
and left alone because it was so trash.
Yeah, going back to the characters, we had Djimon Hounsou, another character that didn't have any significance. They said he was a general, but he didn't display any leadership skills. It was pointless to have that character. And then we had who was this guy? His name is Staz. They said his last name is it Nair?
It looks like
Nair. That character was useless. That was the character he was just talking about, the guy that tamed the griffin. The characters in this movie, and even their clothes, the way their dress is so generic. It's like, man, it's hard to connect with the characters. Only time I look at the character, okay, that's buff guy number 1, that's buff guy number 2, that's evil Nazi. Like, bro, what is this movie? That's
futuristic Nazi.
Yeah, this is the coward character right here. It's just like, bro, they just came and they went in and they wrote down a bunch of characters, and then they put down the characters. Okay, this guy, he's scared. This girl, she's strong. This guy, he's buff. And then that's it. The characters don't have any depth.
And then a couple of characters had their shirts off the whole time. It's like, this is not 300. They're in the future, and they are battling against opponents who have plasma weapons. Do you think that it's a wise thing not to have any armor on? At least a shirt. Come on now. But he's shirtless the whole time without explanation. I understand why he was shirtless at first, because he was a slave. Or he was bound, or held in bondage rather. But then after he was free, why not wear a shirt, especially into battle? Why not wear some armor that can protect you in an environment like that?
Man, Zack Snyder has an obsession with shirtless buff dudes, because all that was in this movie and in all his other movies, like, man, the other movies is cool. Like Watchmen, okay, Dr. Manhattan, he served the purpose 300, all the Spartans, they served even though they was stupid, they had no chest plates on, but I know he was trying to keep it accurate to the comic. Then, you know, Batman, Superman, all those movies are cool, but this movie, I mean, I just wasn't, it just didn't, it didn't do what it was supposed to do. What it delivered, it was supposed to be like a new sci-fi adventure that was supposed to rival even Star Wars. And I was excited for this movie until I actually watched it.
Yeah, I was excited for it too, but as soon as it came on, the narrator did a good job. That was probably the best part of the movie.
Yeah, Anthony Hopkins.
He did a pretty good job. But then the first few scenes let you know how trash the rest of the movie was going to be. It left you wondering, what in the world is going on? What's happening here? Then once they revealed the villains, and first some of the characters talked about the villains. Like you said, they told you everything that was going to happen. They didn't leave anything up to surprise. They told you what was going to happen right after they told you. It happened just like that.
Yeah.
Happened right after they told you. Like, bro, at least if you're going to tell us what's going to happen, push it further into the movie. Push it down a few scenes. Don't give it to us right after you tell us. That's a terrible way to execute story.
Yeah, I was not, because some movies are like not good, but they're entertaining. Like The Meg too. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed that movie, but it wasn't good. But this movie, I wasn't even entertained.
Not at all.
Some of the special effects were iffy, and then some of the special effects were good, like that alien with the tentacles. That was like the best special effects they had in the film.
Like you said, at times the special effects were iffy. In certain parts of the movie, I thought that I was watching Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. That's how sketchy some of the special effects were.
Yeah, and then they could have did a better job world building. The world building was trash. Like I said, they didn't really, they told you the name of the planets, but that's it. What does this planet do? And then I think one of the things that they wanted was grain. I'm like, man, you could have came up with something else besides one planet, one grain from another one. Like, man, but I don't want to beat up this movie too much because we already destroyed it. So from a scale from whack to masterpiece, where does this movie place?
You know, the word masterpiece is too glorious to be mentioned in the same sentence as Rebel Moon. This movie was below whack. It was in the depths of hell when it comes to whackness. This movie was absolute garbage, trash. Any name that you can use or any word that you can use to describe the terribleness of this movie, you can throw it in there too. This movie was supposed to rival Star Wars. It was supposed to take the throne that Star Wars is sitting on. This movie is worse than all three of the movies that make up the sequel trilogy. And that's a fact.
Right, from a scale of whack to masterpiece, I'm gonna go with this movie. This is whack. This is Sci-Fi Channel at best. This is released the Snyder cut because he said this movie was 6 hours. Released the Snyder cut. This movie was trash. But man, I hope you enjoyed this review. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Share this video, and we'll see you in the next one.
Peace.
We're out of here.